Hello, it's the Red Pill News Dispensary. If you're on the East Coast like me, good afternoon. You just after 12 here. If you are on the West Coast, good morning. Or anywhere else in the United States, good morning. If you're in Hawaii or Australia, good night. And I think, according to my analytics, that covers my viewers. Oh, in Canada, depending on where you are, good morning. Or if you're over like Montreal, good afternoon. All right, so today we're gonna yesterday I went over so much stuff. And by the way, for those of you guys who were here for yesterday's video, that was buffering like crazy, from what I understand. Although you wouldn't know it on the playback, it was like when I look back at the live chat, it was buffering basically like the first hour, even longer. Basically, I mean, I could see why. There wasn't any certain things done that could be considered. I did get a copyright strike on that video, but believe it or not, it was for some of the it was for some sound playing in the background when I was doing El Chapo's son thing. So hopefully you guys caught that story because I had to clip that part out so you missed some of the El Chapo's son part. But as far as anything else, I mean, really, they can't say it's copyright. I'm just talking about the Rothschilds, the Bronfmans, their connection to IKEA Israel, and how all three of those entities, or groups, or however you want to put it, all donated to this one thing. And I just found this live as I was broadcasting. So all three of them tied into Save the Children Foundation, which anytime something's named like that, and if it has certain symbolisms like the heart within the heart, or like the weird like it's like a person, but it has like a weird figure without hands or eyes. It's just like a head with like a weird body inside of like a circle that loops. That's also another pedophile symbol. And of course, that's attributed to Save the Children. And I didn't know if it would be bad news. It's just who's associated with it. It was pretty obvious it was bad news. Surely enough, we ended up uncovering all kinds of stuff. But meanwhile, little do I know, it's buffering. So if you guys want to catch the part that was buffering on the playback, it's all there. So all you have to do is watch yesterday's video on the playback. And once I'm done with this video, since this will be like a new video, I want people to be able to see what they missed at the beginning of yesterday's show, because the best part about it is none of it was planned. I was just looking into the story. So you guys probably missed this, but the CMEX connected with Epstein, how he had a cement truck and all this stuff, and then that's kind of like not like new news that was going on. But I wanted to put that out there because I did have a newer story on Epstein that I presented, along with what ended up being, when I started looking into CMEX and all that, we started getting ties, and also looking into Tucson, Arizona. And oh, who's the mayor of Tucson? Oh, a Rothschild. So it's that's why I say Arizona, the corruption there is unbelievable. And we were talking about a situation that happened a couple years ago on CMAX grounds where they shut it all down. Anyways, I don't want to make this stop buffering, so just watch the last video. What I'll do is I might even put that last video as like the like the preview video. Like when you go to my channel, there's one video at the top. Right now, it is I forget what it is, but actually it might be, no, it's the one when somebody broke, one of the audience members broke live on the show that Q was coming back, and then an hour later Q was back, and if that's not enough, he was back at exactly the site, the like another board, like 8chan, but this newer board that as far as for Q, and that he would be back on that exact site. And I was like kind of skeptical at first, but then I went to QAnon.pub, and of course, boom, it pops up there. because anytime Q writes under his, he always has the same trip code. Which, if that's new to you guys, it's like somebody with your IP address, and it's like only that's you. When somebody with knowledge of all that kind of stuff, they when they look at something, you have an identifying factor, or your phone's IMEI number, things like that, things that identify you, where they can track you. Well, this QAnon.pub tracks Q posts, no matter where he's posting, because he always has his identifying number. And of course, that's when I knew it was legit, is when it popped up there. That means the same trip code, and I checked for myself, but the fact that it also popped up there even tells me more, because maybe they could have switched something, but no, it popped up right there. But anyways, today what we're going to be talking about is the only story that I left out of yesterday's show that was supposed to be in yesterday's show, ended up running so long. And this story, I'm almost happy that it ended up not being in the show, because it almost requires a little bit more attention. I would say a couple of the stories I went over, because it's such a lengthy show. Unless you have, 4.5 hours, or what was it, even close, like almost 5 hours. I forget the exact, like over 4 hours to sit back and watch some good intel. That would be it. And if you're skipping around, you might miss something, because there was some very important stuff that I was presenting, and that I just happened to come across. And while it was buffering, what you would have been watching was a live deep dive into this Save the Children group. So, and they've been around for a very long time. We're talking since before World War One, or they might have been created because of World War One, something like that. But I think even before World War One. So they've been around through all that, and there's all kinds of accusations of wrongdoing on their part. Now, most of those accusations are in the past 15, 20 years, and that has to do with the internet and better ways to investigate and things like that. Whereas back in the day, they got away with a lot. Now, mind you, conditions are worse than ever, as far as the regular man versus the elite. But that's just, there's many different factors that go into that. We've had a string of corrupt presidents, and I'm hoping that can turn around. But it's still heading in that direction. But Bill Gates, as much as I can't stand him, he actually made some good arguments as to why what Elizabeth Warren wants to do will hurt this country so much. I could care less about, oh, I'm going to have to pay $100 billion a year. Is that fair? No one cares about how unfair things are for you, Bill Gates. But at the same time, I do understand that, if you start taking all that money out of this country, now I don't believe in trickle-down economics, yet at the same time, I do believe that as long as they're doing business, it's creating opportunities. But yes, the system should be changed in some way. Yet, what they're trying to do overnight in such a drastic way would never work and would actually hurt us. And we saw that with Obama. And he didn't actually even do anything that drastic. It was just, he did do some, pertaining to what we're talking about right now, it wasn't that drastic what he did. He was a moderate. I mean, he was like barely a Democrat, but not a Republican. He was right in the middle. Especially by today's standards, he's like a moderate Republican. I mean, it's kind of crazy. But anyway, so he's like mid-right nowadays, same as Hillary, all of them. And they're trying to like keep up with where the left is going, and they're just going they're going somewhere where that's why we're seeing all this effort put into this impeachment proceedings, because they will not be able to beat him. Now, they think Bloomberg would be their best chance, and I can understand why. The guy did a great job in New York City. Although how much of that was left over of Giuliani actually cleaning up that city and turning it from a place that you can not go out at night or not go on the subway after a certain hour to a place that actually was, like a nice place. And 9/11 happened on his watch despite all that, and he still was able to do so many changes to that city. So I think Bloomberg kind of beneficiated from that, but he also expanded upon it. But being a Jewish man and, a Manhattan Jewish man, I don't think he has a chance. If I'm just being honest, that doesn't matter to me. But, it might make me look into his background just a little bit more. But, the guy's from the same high school I went to. Put it that way. So he's not like, he didn't grow up a rich kid, I'll tell you that. Although there is a section of the city with some money, but if he grew up, he didn't grow up rich, put it that way. If he grew up anything, it might have been middle class, maybe upper middle class if he lived in this one particular neighborhood. But I'm curious where he grew up in Medford. But I guess, yeah, it's crazy. But he grew up in Medford, but he went to the same high school as me. And hey, let me see, in Somerville. What is this? Here, I don't want it. Oh, peanut butter and fluff. Oh, and that's another thing. Here you go. Good, yeah. One thing I never knew is that the rest of the country, fluff is more like a New England, Boston thing. I never knew that until recently. Their headquarters are out here. No, she handed it to me. But I think she was just trying to give me some. I think she'll still eat some. But yeah, fluff. Peanut butter and jelly instead, peanut butter and fluff. It's way better. But I didn't realize more of a Boston thing. Anyways, let's do a deep dive into Disney, the occult with Disney, as well as what's going on, why they're on my radar right now, and that's because of a pedophile bust. A few pedophiles were arrested in a child sex ring. So, if that sounds familiar, well, it did just happen, but it's happened many times, and we're gonna go over all that. PedoRing message, how you doing? Oh yeah, the music is what will get you hit more than anything. I mean, I played all those videos. Nothing about that. Just the music from one background stupid ad on when I was looking at El Chapo's son. AKUN is offline again. I know. I saw that. I don't know. I saw that. I thought it was maybe just temporary. I noticed that last night. But if you want to keep up, you can always know where he, if he's posting, and you just go to QAnon.pub, and then where he posts from, you click on the blue number, and that'll bring you directly to the board that he posted from, and you'll get to see a lot of very intelligent people who are just like expert researchers do a deep dive into the red rig. Now, I showed yesterday what I think the red rig is. I've heard some great theories that make me kind of double think that they might actually have it right. But then again, my theory is pretty good too. In the South China Sea, they just announced that this deep oil rig, they've successfully struck, and they're saying that according to United States estimates, we're talking something like the exact numbers are in yesterday's video, but like 11 million or 11 billion even barrels of oil, along with like a crazy amount of cubic tons of natural gas, or however they measure the natural gas. It's like unbelievable. And that's just like on the outskirts of where they're drilling. if you took, the reefs and all these things that are actually in contention over where they would have a tough time setting it up and actually drilling, if you took that all into account, we're talking massive amounts of oil and natural gas. We already are talking massive amounts of oil and natural gas from this oil rig. So when I see red rig, red, communist China, okay, that's simple enough. And rig, I mean, they get this oil rig, and that was like breaking news that I didn't see anywhere. So I made sure to talk about that yesterday. You guys can watch the video yesterday, or just look that up for yourself. In the South China Sea, they just struck massive amounts of oil and natural gas. So now we have also struck massive amounts and also fought for massive amounts of oil and struck that massive amounts of natural gas, which has made us a exporter of these energies. I mean, that's really something from where we were before. But it took a lot of hold on 1 second. You'd be kidding me. Wait. I have no idea what's going on here. Oh, here we go. All right, both share screen. All right. So yeah, check that out yesterday. That was extremely interesting, especially since, I just happened to come across some stuff, and I was going into the Epstein / Rothschild / Bronfman dive / CMEX, all that, and they all contribute to this one foundation. And that is the Save the Children Foundation that's been around for over 100 years. So once I started looking into that, wow, it got interesting. And sure enough, that's what they cut out. So all you got to do is, on the playback, nothing's cut out. But let's just take a look at this stuff. So this is what this video is about. I just wanted to let you guys know. Then anything that I was saying is, that's gone. It won't never be. Well, that's not true. It's all there. Once it uploaded, if you're watching it again, it's all there. You know what? All right, here we go. So, this is just 22 hours ago. 2 Disney workers, or it would have been 22 hours ago from last night. So it's about, a little bit more than a day ago. About 2 days ago. 2 Disney workers, retired middle school principal, nabbed in Florida child porn sting. And if this sounds familiar, I'll show you why it sounds familiar. But this is new. So you know what? Fuck it. Seems like the only thing that's getting me copy straight.
We're now going to Chicago, where it looks like football weather this Sunday morning.
This is NFL Game Day highlights. Let's get it going. And he got it going.
We got you covered from morning to night. NFL Game Day, only on NFL Network.
You think Fox News would be able to do this type of stuff? Like a big enough channel where they don't have to do like these, make it look like it's a video about the subject and it's something else. All right, so 2 Disney employees and a retired middle school assistant principal have been snared in a Florida sheriff's child pornography sting. Their arrests and the arrests of 14 other men were announced Friday by Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd as part of an undercover probe into child pornography conducted by detectives who work on computer crime cases. Judd said the 2 arrested Disney employees were Brett Kinney, 40, of Lake Alfred, Florida, And Donald Durr, 52, of Davenport, Florida. He said the retired assistant principal was William Hage of Lakeland, California. The school where Lakeland Hage worked. So, wow, the third guy was a assistant principal. I mean, that just shows you that. Anyway, so where Hage worked as Seth McKeel Middle School in Lakeland. He was the vice principal of a middle school. And Lakeland, I've heard of that, so it's a sizable city or town or whatever it is. It's sizable. It's not like some small town. I mean, it just goes to show, and I hate to even say this because you know what? There's some great people who work with kids. There really are. But, and I hate to do this, but when it's a lot of times the ones who are really great are, females that work with kids and they might have their reasons and then you have some great males that work with kids and serve as, so you have great females that obviously work with kids, but you also have great males that work with children and, or at, even places like Disney. I don't know if I'd say great people there. That's why anywhere where it's a job where you are in constant contact with children, first of all, those jobs are easier to get than you would realize, and the background checks are not as thorough as you realize. And I hate to say this type of stuff because there's great people that work with kids and I don't want to shine a bad light on them. But, you know what? Maybe, some of the people doing the hiring at these jobs will, in order to protect the good people who work there, will stop maybe doing some better background checks and better, research into these people when they're dealing with children. I mean, the things that happen to you as a child, it's like, things that happen to you as an adult, they suck and they can stick with you. But things that happen to you as a child, they stick and they will ruin you. They will make it so that you will not be a productive adult that you could have been. I mean, a lot of people overcome it, don't get me wrong. But it's not easy, I'll tell you that. It's just the harm that is done through this stuff. And at the time, they're so young and, but no, even at very young ages, it creates trauma. And a lot of times they'll even push the trauma out of their head and not really remember the whole thing. But, I'm not trying to say anyone who works with a kid or wants to work at a kid's theme park is a creep. No. But they need to do a better job because guess what? That's definitely a place that somebody who has these sexual urges they cannot control. Obviously, they can't control these urges because it's bad enough to go to prison. Even worse, what happens in prison to them. So, you're talking about being behind nothing but steel and concrete with a bunch of dudes, and trust me, you're probably not going to exactly be a physical specimen going in there, no matter who you are. In particular, if you're into children, you're probably not some physical specimen, You're going to get ruined or killed or, even PC. They will get you. Or they'll make your life hell to the point that you hang it up anyway. Anyways, with that said, I was kind of thinking like, maybe I shouldn't say that, but screw it. It's the truth. We talk truth. But at the same time, there are good people at all of these places. There are great teachers, great principals. That doesn't mean most principals, 99.9% of them are, good, okay, or great. And as far as people who work at Disney, it's a huge place. There's a lot of people that work at Disney. They're not all creeps, but some are. That's why they're working that's why they choose that place. It's like like we look for benefits in a job. Well, they look for certain benefits in a job as well. I mean, It's like coming to a man and saying, hey, you could, work at that, at some, where all these beautiful women, wherever, I don't know, go to like a theme park for beautiful women. All right, I'm in. I'll even take a pay cut. You know what I mean? Like, a single guy will do that in a second. Now, if you're not single, yeah, good luck trying. But, that's, I hate to compare it like that and even laugh, but that's how they have to look at it when they're doing this hiring. They have to do better research, better stuff like this. This isn't the first time, this isn't the second time, this isn't the third time. It's like the 100th time. There's so many different examples. There were so many, it was just too many to go over, but I pulled up a bunch of them. But let's just continue on this story that just happened. Kinney worked as a guest experience manager. So he's a manager. That means he's been there a while. At Walt Disney World and has been employed at the theme park for 15 years. So how long, has he been involved in all this crap? Investigators said he told detectives he had an addiction to child pornography and had been viewing it for 22 years, according to the station. Disney World princess left shaking and crying after guests allegedly groped her during photo op. I bet you there's a lot of that going on too. The woman who dressed up like the, like, I don't know, the girls from Frozen and things like that. Some creep. There's creeps everywhere, but especially in these types of places. Durr was also employed by Disney for over 2 decades on their maintenance staff. So he was there. So these guys aren't just, they just came off the street and, they turned out to be pedophiles. No. One was a manager, has been there for 15 years. The other one works in maintenance, and he's been there for over 20 years. Judge said Durr told deputies, I'm a pervert, but I'm not a monster. No, you're a monster. A representative for Disney, see, he's trying to play that whole thing that, kind of like the DSM-5 and psychologists and the left are trying to play when it comes to these people. I'm sorry, but these people, like I was talking about earlier, the damage that is done to a child, there is no place in society for these types of people. Whereas, like, the left thinks, well, you know what, they're still people, and they deserve to have it treated like a disease, and yeah, keep having that attitude, and it's just going to be more and more children falling victim to them. For every one of them, think of how many victims there are. Every single one of them should be castrated. And I'm sorry, I know that's a radical thing to say, but that's really how I feel. Because if you think that you're going to do it through therapy, they can't even figure out my PTSD through therapy, let alone something as complicated as sexual urges for children. I mean, obviously it's just something doesn't, a wire that is off. But regardless, it's too dangerous. That's like saying, well, a Nazi that wants to exterminate you, well, they just have a wire that's off. No, they need to be eradicated. Or ISIS, they want to bring upon the end days and cut Americans' heads off. Well, it's a religious thing, and, maybe they could just be taught. No, it's something that needs to be eradicated. It's an idea that needs to be wiped away. Now, how you go about wiping away, that can be debated, because obviously just bombing them to death just makes their children, their the people that they live amongst, hate you even more. Maybe if we weren't in Iraq in the first place, maybe if we weren't in Afghanistan in the first place, although I find Afghanistan to be something a lot more necessary than Iraq. Although look at what's Afghanistan number one export? It's the poppies in the poppy fields, heroin, stuff that's used in medicine, but also straight up heroin. Yeah, all right. Philly, you want Philly? Philly, go play, go play, go play, go play, go play. Time to get up. Go play, go play. Ball game starts soon. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, so Judd said in a news release that Hayes was on the internet chatting about wanting to see a 15-year-old wearing something sexy when detectives showed up at his house with the search warrant. Good. The news release said Hayes had hundreds of videos and images of child pornography with girls of various ages. Mind you, Hayes was the middle school vice principal. So, yeah, take for that what you will. So there's those creeps. Now, if this sounds familiar, well, there's a reason it sounds familiar. Let's take a look. I know, Philly, go play. Go out. Alright, so like for instance, here we are in December 6th, 2017. Actually, you know what? I want to touch on this one first. There's one. Alright. Is this the same? December 9th, 2017. Now I'll check to see if this is the same, but this is a top Disney executive. Actively involved in this crap for over 20 years. Well, this is why, because it's people like this that are hiring them. Days after police busted a massive pedophile ring at Disney World, so that's what that last story was about, a senior executive at Disney has been charged with 3 felony accounts of child sex abuse. John Healy, a longtime employee of the family entertainment company, was arrested on 3 various counts of lewd, I never heard of it like that, lascivious acts on a child, according to Variety. Haley, 58, of Santa Clara, is accused of abusing 2 underage girls, one of whom was 11, approximately 10 years ago. So it must have been this big bust happened, and then some victims came forward. Now, at the age of 21, they have, they're an adult, and at that age where their brain is fully developed and they're ready to come forward. It's probably, that's the thing. The damage that's done. It's just. The news of the senior executive's arrest comes days after police announced they have uncovered a huge pedophile ring at Disney World, Florida. So mind you, these arrests are still happening here in 2019. Mind you, at the end of 2019, going into 2020. And here we are talking about the end of 2017 when they had a huge bust where over 35 employees were arrested for alleged not child pornography, child rape offenses. It shows you that Trump really has done cleaning up on this front. Over 35 on child rape. The other guys, that was child pornography and stuff like that. This is child rape. This is when it, becomes 100 times more serious, because they're actually, being raped as an adult is something traumatic you'll never get over. Being raped as a child, it's just so bad. The Disney employees include people from management, a concierge, a tour guide, and a ticket seller. So basically, everywhere. It's not like there was just one section that had a bad manager that was into that kind of crap too. We're talking child rape. This is bad. Disney has downplayed the arrests, insisting, of course they would, insisting, and I'll show you what they're all about, insisting that the theme park is so large that those arrested account for just a tiny percentage of its overall workforce. What an unbelievable thing to say. We're not even just talking about child pornography at this point. This is back where you have an executive and 35 employees. That is, and they're downplaying it. Yeah, of course there's a huge workforce, but you take the percentage of the population, and it is nowhere near that high, the amount of people who have been convicted of child rape. However, the arrest of the senior executive, well, how are you going to explain that one, has led many to believe the pedophilia program is systematic within the company. People were starting to wake up. This is back in 2017. This is when people were just waking up to this stuff. Haley was arrested on November 16th and released on $150,000 bail, which blows my mind. Seriously does. I see guys all the time, no bail. This guy, that's nothing to him. 150,000 as an executive at Disney, and I'll show you why in a second. Wait till you see what Disney owns. According to an affidavit, one of the girls was 15 years old at the time of the alleged incident. The other victim was allegedly abused over a 4-year span. Wow, so it's like systematic rape with this one child, which started when she was 11. Ugh. Haley pleads not guilty to the charges and vehemently denies the accusations, his lawyer told Variety. Okay, yeah. They all do. Disney said it acted swiftly and suspended Haley. Oh, good for you, Disney. Upon learning of the accusations late Friday. Immediately upon learning of the situation tonight, he has been suspended without pay until the matter is resolved by the courts, a Disney spokesperson said. Haley, who oversees the licensing of music from Disney films, faces just over 9 years in prison if convicted of the charges. That's another thing. They should be facing way worse than what somebody gets for marijuana. You know what I mean? It's just, well, used to get for marijuana. Now they get it for, like, any other drug, I guess. If they're trafficking or something like that. This is totally different. Although the drug stuff's serious too. Haley's Twitter bio states Disney concerts and living to glorify God in all things. So his bio says on Twitter, Disney concerts and living to glorify God in all things. So I don't know what they're trying to say with that comment. But then again, when you come across Satanists, they're always talking about God too. They're just talking about a different God than you and I. And I say you and I, but, I saw someone right back to where we were. Now, this is... Alright, so here we are, back in 2015. Disney World employee among 101 arrested in prostitution and child sexting. Sheriff deputies in Florida. What is going on, Florida? There is a Disneyland in California. California's a lot more populated. Florida's a weird place. Sorry for my fellow Floridians, but I have a bunch of family in Florida too. I don't know. But they grew up here in Boston, so, I don't know. Maybe they don't get the... I don't know what's in that swamp water. So Lake and Polk County, again, same exact two counties as the story that just came out 2 days ago. That was the first story I went on. Announced on June 2nd that they had arrested 101 suspects in the operation called L&P for Lake and Polk. The New York Daily News reports that of 22 alleged child sex predators arrested, 3 were theme park employees. Why do these people work at these theme parks? Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said at June 2nd press conference. Judd, wasn't that one of the names? Oh, something very similar. It was like HUD or something like that. And that's exactly what I was thinking. How can they? Because that's where the children are. Exactly. The Daily News reports Ryan Mayer, 24, worked at guest arrivals at SeaWorld for about 2 weeks before his arrest last month. Cops said 29-year-old Thomas Adams once worked at Universal Studios, while 22-year-old Jeff Conrad III had been a Disney World employee. I mean, look at this. Look at this little thing. Look at all these guys. They're all about the same age. A couple a little bit older, but about the same. The Polk County Sheriff's Office confirmed to the Huffington Post that Mayer once worked at SeaWorld. Adams once worked at Universal Studios, and Jeff Conrad III was an employee at Disney World at the time of his arrest. 2 theme parks did not immediately respond to requests for comment, but SeaWorld, of all, the disgusting SeaWorld that keeps these beautiful creatures that the only creatures that might be even close to our intelligence in the world are the ones being kept, as captive in SeaWorld. And trust me, those animals, they are aware that they are captive and they don't like it. That's why one thing, if you guys know the guy Steve-O from Jackass, he got arrested, but he got arrested by going climbing up a billboard and writing something at like one of the most popular intersections in his state about SeaWorld, and I think it was in California actually that he did it, and so it's a SeaWorld, Florida too. Okay. Well, the SeaWorlds are getting shut down. So that's one good news. Since then, SeaWorld's been shut down, from what I understand. We were recently informed that an employee who had worked for us less than 2 weeks ago, okay, so we don't want to hear from them. In the first 2 weeks of this thing, carried out between May 18th and 28th, and this is 2015, by the way, undercover officers lured people to a vacant home in the Claremont area, according to a press release. Deputies used apps like Grindr to pose as either the parents of children between the ages of 10 to 14 or the children themselves. That's how desperate these people are. They're going to show up and meet with the parents to arrange to have sex with them. That sounds like something like, I saw a couple Muslim names in there. That sounds like something like another Muslim, you know what I mean, that a Muslim would fall for with the arranged marriages. Although the Portuguese side of my father's side, they had arranged marriages. My father's first marriage was an arranged marriage to a woman that he didn't know. He got out of the Air Force, out of Vietnam, and had an arranged marriage. And obviously it didn't work out. He was an American. He wasn't so much from the old country. He was born in the old country, but he came over here when he was like 3 years old. So all that he ever really knew was America. He was American, So yeah, that didn't work out for him. He ended up remarrying my mother, and they were together till the day he died. And then she lived out the rest of her years with having only been with him since. She never remarried, never even had a boyfriend or anything, to my knowledge at least. One of the men traveled from Texas to have sex with a 14-year-old boy. Wow. And planned to keep the victim's underwear as a trophy, according to an arrest affidavit cited by the Daily Commercial. In Phase 2, deputies carried out a prostitution sting from the same home, netting 79 individuals. Wow. And obviously they probably, same thing, except instead of online, it was more like, it might have been online as well, but this is more about sex, and I think the first one was they were surprised how many people actually were willing to meet up with a young child that they did this. So deputies called 22 child sex predators in this thing called Be Mine. In it, another 3 Disney World employees were arrested. Taken out of context, their arrest could be seen as an unsettling trend for Disney World employees. But the theme park would rarely comment on such pending the outcome of the investigations. Employs more than 62,000 people. The same advice that the same excuse they end up using 2 years later, and then again 4 years later, 2 years later after the next one. So they're going to keep on using that. Oh, we have so many employees. Yet it's like every other year there's a big sting and a bunch of people who are employees at your theme park are arrested. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. You would just think that, something would be done. Something more. I mean, at least things are being done, it seems, for once. So let's continue. So this one looks like that big sting that right afterwards an executive went down. Look at this. They actually have a Mickey Mouse being arrested. That seems like a real photo. Wow. Police have uncovered a huge pedophile ring at Disney World, Florida, where over 35 employees are arrested for alleged child rape offenses. The Disney employees include people from... So we basically went over this. I like this this sheriff, Grady Judd. I don't know if, the counties where he works, where he's the sheriff, is just had a huge problem like this because of Disney being right there, or if it's just somebody, we have a sheriff being extremely proactive towards this type of stuff. And so that's why you see the arrest. But I think it's a little bit of both. They tracked down many of the suspects still facing trial, including 50-year-olds. So anyways, we already kind of went over this because this was involved in the executive. When the executive went down, this is when a bunch of them went down. They told Spencer he was a 13-year-old boy, so they had this guy meet with a 13-year-old boy. Another ones went to meet a 14-year-old boy, a 14-year-old girl. A 13-year-old boy again. I'm surprised how many boys. But then again, pedophile, it goes for straight and gay people. 13-year-old girl again. They seem to just, figure out if they were into boys or girls and go with a 13-year-old of that sex. But yeah, so we basically already kind of did the story with the executive. It's just there's so much. I mean, you would think like, oh, well, don't skip over. There's so much. All right, now here's one from May 31st, 2018. These are all different situations. It seems like a documentary in Open Street, which details Brian Peck. ABC, you didn't know. That's why I said he was so surprised that ABC anchor knew so much, yet didn't say anything. Brian Peck term just 1 year after he is released from prison. Wow, that's crazy. Just 1 year after he's released from prison. Fires Roseanne and cancels her show #1 within hours for a tweet. With the rap, it is racist, but if they only knew that Valerie Jarrett was, so yeah, with the rap like that, how is the legal effect to even work near children? The original conviction was the abuse of a Nickelodeon child star. Wow. I mean, they'll never release it, but I think I have an idea who it is. I don't know if he had child abuse allegations, but I don't know. I know that he has HIV, and the fact that he was anxious on hiring your good friend Brian Peck on anger management in 2013. According to, it seems like this person, at Open Secret on Twitter, they're pretty good. They know their stuff. I'm going to follow them after this, actually. I might be able to get some good material and be able to expose some more. Looking at that Twitter account, so that's an Open Secret is the handle, and at an Open Secret. According to the same publication, Peck is not the only pedophile Disney has employed after their convictions. In 1988, the child actor from the movie Clown House, Nathan Forrest Winters, told his mother at the end of the filming that the director Victor Salva had been molesting him for approximately 5 years. Salva was found guilty on 5 of the 11 original counts after he confessed to the sexual abuse, and video recordings of him abusing Nathan Winters were found in his home. Police also found videotapes and magazines featuring child pornography. Find a full wrote in 1995. The movie Caravan Pictures. Victor Salva molested a boy from age 8 to 12 who was acting in a film he directed and videotaped it, serving only 15 months in jail. Wow. Despite the victim's public protests. Wow. Back to the whole thing with Roseanne. But how unrepeatable. While her network, TBS, does nothing. It's pretty much guaranteed that she will keep her job. Oh wait, they're giving her an award for her amazing ability to stand up for feminism. Shame on at Television Academy. No, that's at Real James Woods. An Open Secret also went to the Wayback Machine. Said on ABC's The View. Whoopi stayed on The View. Again, an Open Secret. If you have the right political views, you can say whatever you. Because really, what was it really about? Valerie Jarrett? Why don't people look up who Romney? I saw what he did. It was Trump all the way. I've been in stories about. Okay, so let's go on to the next. So anyways, I wanted to show you guys about the kind of like the origins of Walt Disney and a lot more. Walt Disney as an elite occultist. The man Walt Disney. A cherished American icon, Disney has become much more than a corporation or a collection of cartoons, theme parks, and childhood memories. Disney has become, and really always has been, a carefully orchestrated web of archetypal. Why am I having trouble with that word? It's an easy word. Web of archetypal symbolism, symbolism derived from the ancient mysteries traditions of Egypt. Which is why in that video you saw the what are they called? Oh, the name for them. Those like bugs, and they put them that they have some kind of like a occult significance, and they put them in the tombs of pharaohs and things like that. Any movie that they have about mummies or anything like that, you'll see those bugs. Anyways, it's very important to know your symbolism, because that's one thing that they put it right out in your face, and most people have no idea. Carefully orchestrated web of derived from the ancient mystery, ancient Egypt, and stimulated by the elitist mentality of the American surveillance state. Since Mark Elliott's research novel, Walt Disney, Hollywood's Dark Prince, came out in the late 90s without the authorization of the Disney family or corporation, well, I'd like to hear that, conspiracy theories about Walt Disney, I hate that word, unless there is such a thing as conspiracy theory, like, I don't know, flat earth, that's a conspiracy theory, for instance, you know what I mean? It's not a fact, it's a conspiracy theory. Whether you believe it or not, it hasn't been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. I like to deal in facts. Have ranged from his documented relationships. Now, some of these might be theories, so yeah, okay. With J. Edgar Hoover, although that might be true, because I know that J. Edgar Hoover, one of the reasons he made such a, he formed the FBI, and one of the reasons he was so good at investigating and having dirt on others is because he had so much dirt himself that his whole life was trying to keep under wraps. I mean, that was the origins of the FBI. It was a gay guy who cross-dressed, who was trying to keep it under wraps. So basically, anyone who came close, he would just investigate them, get dirt on them. He got so good at it that they ended up having him start up the FBI. And he started going after, bank robbers and things like that. And also they had to find a way, it kind of came at a perfect time, because basically once you cross state lines after a bank heist or a train heist, you were gold, you're good. So you do it right near a border, and then once you cross state lines, it was very hard for the states to kind of coordinate. And that's the way the United States was, kind of like meant to be, is a bunch of states that were a lot different from each other, but linked together as one country. Whereas now, it's like, it really, there's some laws where, there is a lot of differences between states, but it's not at all what the Founding Fathers intended, with all this with the power of the federal government. And the communist witch hunt of the Cold War era. His relationship to both Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism, if you guys don't know what that is, sometimes the ones you hear less about are even more nefarious. I'm not saying that. Now, that's the thing. Freemasons, it's not always like these horrible people. It's the ones at the top that get the certain knowledge that are horrible people. There's a reason they get that high, 33rd degree, things like that. But as far as Rosicrucians, that's something that you hear less about. A lot of you have probably heard about it, but they're definitely heard less about. The incredible amount of esoteric symbolism that was put into Disney's media that persists now more than ever. His neurotic, obsessive-compulsive tendencies that he reportedly self-medicated with narcotics and alcohol, and his known sympathies with the Nazi regime, his anti-Semitism, and a reported sexism in the workplace. Some of these claims have even reached into more speculative grounds, such as Disney's ties to pedophilia, which is what we are exposing right now, and even the mafia. The mafia did go to Florida. This article will serve as a brief, open-source investigation into the claims of the man behind the facade of the Disney Public Relations Funds, the true face of the Imagineer, the man seeking to capture the imaginations of America's youth, Walt Elias Disney. And of course, there's a cool little photo. I should have just made that. There's so much. If you guys really look into my thumbnail, there's a lot going on there. This particular picture is on there along with many others. So I thought that would be kind of, I maybe should have just made it this. I don't know. I'm not going to second guess myself now. Walt Disney had a lonely upbringing, lacking what he felt to be a meaningful relationship with his parents. His mother reportedly was quite cold to him, and Walt's self-proclaimed love for animals over humans was said to have stemmed from this sense of isolation as a child. Presumably because of this type of upbringing, as a child, Walt excelled in the Freemason-affiliated Order of the Demole, which is an international Masonic organization for young men at the ages of 12 to 21. The title Demole is derived from the last Grand Master of the Knights Templar, Yaquis de Mole, and he was burned at the stake. I was just watching something about him recently on the hunt on Oak Island, or whatever that show's called. They talk a lot about him and Freemasons in general as well. As an adult, Walt joined the ancient mystical order of Rosicrucians. The acronym is AMORC, which is the largest known organization of Rosicrucianism, and also boasts the membership of people like Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry, among so many other noteworthy names. For those unaware, Rosicrucianism is a surviving occult school thought that primarily studies the ancient mystery teachings promoted by Egypt, dating much earlier than the Egyptians, however, through the lens of a more traditional Western symbolism. Generally, it is considered a form of esoteric Christian mysticism. While this may paint a certain measure of nobility around Walt Disney, there is a great deal of evidence to show that he was a deeply troubled individual that suffered a degree of gender identity confusion, which resulted in ambiguous attractions, which resulted in ambiguous attractions that caused troubles in his marriage. There are also reports of Walt Disney cross-dressing, which raises the question of whether he and J. Edgar Hoover ever had any fully dressed classified meetings. Like I was saying about J. Edgar Hoover, he was a cross-dressing gay man, and that's how he became such a good investigator, was really just protecting his secrets and investigating those around them, getting dirt on them so that it didn't leak. Well, guess what? Eventually it obviously leaked, because he goes down in history as they have the Hoover Dam, and everyone knows that he was the founder of the FBI and all that. But in his Wikipedia page, I bet you they mention his tendency for cross-dressing and his homosexuality, which he was obviously ashamed of, being the times that it was. In regards to this esoteric symbolism, anyone readily attempting to dispute Disney occult symbolism is either in denial or hasn't actually seen any Disney cartoons. And I'm sure some of you guys have seen this. This was like a red pill I had when I was a kid. It was like I thought it was just Disney writers trying to be funny, but I realize now it was much more than that. But one thing I used to find fascinating, once they were pointed out to me, it was like every Disney movie that there was at least one thing in there where it was just like blatant disgustingness, and it was all sexual. From Bambi, Dumbo, and Pinocchio to more overt occult references like Swords in the Stone, Alice in Wonderland, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and even Fantasia. The list goes on and on. Witches, wizards, genies, alchemy, magical spells galore. Disney was not coy at all when using his inspiration from ancient mystery teachings. This only survives to this day. I don't know if some of you guys, if your kids watches like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, they always do like these mystical chants, and they call it magical. But I think that if you're here watching this, you guys are aware of the difference between the magic of Disney and really the mystical, the mysticism of Disney. Which, it's not a made up thing. There's real black magic behind a lot of the stuff. There's a reason that the elites are into this stuff. It's not because it's fake, I'll tell you that. Not only survives to this day, but has become even more blatant with the purchasing of both Lucasfilms and Marvel Comics. And Disney is creating science fiction wars with extra-dimensional entities and uniting ancient Norse gods, I'm assuming Thor, with the military surveillance state and weapons contractor billionaires. I'm assuming that would be Iron Man. Speaking of science fiction wars with extra-dimensional entities in the Avengers, the Tesseract of the first movie is the direct name and symbolism of occult philosophy, especially Freemasonry and the mystical teachings. The Tesseract of the first movie? If anyone knows what that means, in the Avengers, the Tesseract in the first movie. So the first movie of the Avengers, that's the direct name and symbolism. So the Tesseract, I don't know what that is. I'm not really into those movies at all. So one of you guys might know what that means. If you do, please put it in the comments. And also, that reminds me of something I meant to say. What I'm going to start doing is, instead of at the beginning doing questions and stuff like that, at the end, I'm going to look through the chat and look for questions or interesting comments. That's what I'm going to start doing, because what ends up happening is once it's uploaded, and sometime around the next day, like for instance this morning, I went through the comment section, and there was stuff that I wish I had seen. Plus, when I am sharing the screen like this, I can't see the comments, just so you guys know. But I will be looking at them at the end, if it lets me. Sometimes it's tough to go back live once you start the screen sharing. I've learned that too. Alright, so anyway, let's continue. However, it should be stated that these symbols are not demonic, satanic, evil in and of themselves, and are not evidence to condemn Walt Disney. Yet the more ominous claims are yet to come. In consideration of Walt Disney's ties to Freemasonry, it is likely that he was considered an honorary 33rd degree Mason by at least one lodge or another, but some Freemasons deny this claim. Well, I mean, wouldn't they? It's a secret organization, you would think so. Walt excelled in the Demole as a young man, and even originally made Mickey Mouse a member of the Demole as well. Wow. Since Rosicrucianism and Freemasonry often go hand in hand, it seems that his specific title as a Mason is perhaps an overall moot point that is still being debated. And even if he was just a Rosicrucianist, that's still, I mean, that's in some ways more nefarious, because really the real like disgusting stuff of Freemasonry isn't until if you meet a Freemason, it doesn't mean that they're into all this stuff. You don't start finding out about this stuff until the very, very high levels, like the 33rd degree, and maybe a couple degrees below. But because I'm not a Freemason, I don't exactly know every little thing about it, but I know a lot. I know about as much as you can know without being a Freemason. Walt Disney was said to be a man of high energy with awkward social tendencies, neurotic personal habits, and even questionable moral fiber as a father and overall human being. If Walt really was a practicing Rosicrucian, it's hard to consider that he was definitely that. It's hard to consider that he was also a pedophile, unless this Rosicrucianism was a facade for deeper black magic ritualism, which is a documented thread of research when dealing with the upper echelons of the elitist society. Well, from my understanding of Rosicrucianism, there's a lot of mysticism and black magic, so I don't really understand that. Well, although this is, I like the way this is written because it's not just like somebody going full out, like just saying anything. It seems like they're really trying to be accurate, which I like. That's why I chose this article over another one that's a lot more like in your face, like craziness. But, this one, it still exposes just the same. It just goes out of its way to be accurate. The most speculative of these claims, there does appear to be preliminary evidence for it, especially considering the continuing threads of the Disney's cooperation relationship with the surviving Project MK Ultra. I think we all might know what that is. If you don't, look it up. I'm not gonna describe it. It's mind control program's been going on arguably since the 60s, probably before that, since maybe the 40s. That inherently deal with trauma-based mind control that is largely based on black magic from the Egyptian pyramid texts. Now think about that. Some of the most ancient texts that come from the craziest places, like the pyramids. Like to this day, they have no idea how the pyramids were built. Yet they were built so long ago that it's just like, how is that possible? I mean, it's even debated how old they actually are. So, I think that as a Christian, I think it has to do with kind of that time when the 1/3 of the angels were cast out of heaven. They came down to earth they kind of liked the way the human female looked, and they started mating with the woman. And they had these children, the Nephilim, they had children that were giants. I think that's maybe could explain the, along with all of their forbidden knowledge, as well as just knowledge in general that they passed down. I think that would explain the pyramids. And the timing is about right when you line it up with the Bible as well. A primary MK Ultra derivative, slang titled Project Monarch, has intrinsic ties to pedophilia as well, and is said to have connections to common scandals like Jerry Sandusky, Larry King, and Boys Town. Not the talk show host, the Vatican's whole string of events, Bohemian Grove rituals. By the way, for some reason, Bohemian Grove, that has escaped me on like 3 different lives. It's something that I know like thoroughly. Yet for some reason, like when I go to go from memory, I have a tough time bringing that from memory here and there. So yesterday when I was talking about where a lot of decisions are made, along with the Council of Foreign Relations and some more things that have to be made on the fly at the G9, G10, whatever the summit is that year. But really, a lot of what is talked about is this all boys club where supposedly a lot of gay stuff goes down at the Bohemian Grove rituals. And like I said, this is back when Alex Jones was legit. And he actually had video of all of them in these robes doing these weird chants while burning the Owl of Moloch. And you guys can check that all out. You can look that all up. Anything I say, you can look up. It can be backed up with fact. And if it's opinion, I'll tell you it's opinion. And yes, Disney is continuously found in the equation, at least from the social propaganda standpoint. Unfortunately, for those readers still looking to salvage some humanity out of Walt Disney from this read, there are certainly specific accusations of Disney himself participating in pedophilia. A research novel written by Darwin Porter, entitled Hollywood Babylon Strikes Again, illustrates the many different sex scandals of the Hollywood elite that were completely buried by public relations campaigns, and highlights Walt Disney in the process. Said to have a strong attraction to young star Bobby Driscoll, the voice of Peter Pan, the book even alleges that Disney owned a Los Angeles apartment for the sole purpose of meeting up with the young boys that he paid to sleep with. That can be more concretely stated about Walt Disney as the elitist social mentality that is often slipped in between the lines of Freemasonry and esoteric societies. The symbolism behind Masonry is inherently meant to be recognized as the responsibility to build all things in their life with spiritual alchemy, transmuting the baser elements of existence into gold, whether it be within themselves, their business, their community, etc. This is obviously an inherently negative concept, but when this idea of hidden knowledge meant to build society was met with Sigmund Freud and his nephew, Edwin Bernays' Rockefeller-Rothschild-funded public relations media revolution, a serious and narcissistic convolution of esoteric tradition can be noted by the elitist bloodlines of Western society. Instead of being the keepers of esoteric tradition, it became a closely guarded secret that was kept from the general public and given to them in proper doses of esoteric symbolism and mystery traditions throughout the various media outlets. This is obviously very heavily reminiscent of the illusionist illusionian mysteries in ancient Greece, and how these mystery traditions played a direct role in the theater and art media of the culture, as well as the politics. For more systematic research into Disney esoteric symbolism and their symbolism in all Hollywood and pop culture media as a whole, J. Dyer, Freeman Fly, and Jamie Hanshaw are recommended beginning sources. As well, there are more traditional routes like into research of archetypal symbolism, like Carl Jung, and the classic comparative mythology work Hamlet's Mill, published at the end of the 1960s. Considering Walt Disney, there are two more crucial points worth addressing: his documented relationship to J. Edgar Hoover and Joseph McCarthy's communist witch hunt of the Cold Era, and an assessment of his role in the mainstream media's globalist agenda, streamlined during the propaganda for two world wars, continuing with the full force today. Due to the Freedom of Information Act, formerly classified FBI documents reveal Walt's deep-seated relationship with J. Edgar Hoover and his bureau, even dating back to the original construction of the Disney World theme park. Hoover, by the way, I wonder if they're going to mention the, if you guys ever heard of Club 33. It's like, in order to be a member, in order to go there, it's like a ridiculous amount that you have to pay in just like an annual fee, let alone what you have to pay as an upfront cost. And it's this kind of like a secret society meeting in its own that happens at Disney itself, Disney World. And I believe it's called Club 33. obvious, you can see Freemasonry with the 33. But I wonder if they talk about that in here. Because I read some of this, and I liked that it seemed to try to be accurate. But I didn't, like I said, I don't read before I do it. I like to have a honest reaction. Hoover, known for his own connections to secret societies and extensive neurotic tendencies that were similar to Disney's, clearly forged a type of cordial friendship with Walt. Walt, working as a sort of FBI agent contact during the Cold War communist scare, was helping the FBI feel that they were covering their bases and gained Walt a very strong pro-American image among the elite. This even allowed him certain privileges at the FBI, such as certain levels of lower FBI classification clearances when it was requested. However, not only were Disney's accusations against individuals for communism questionable, but they were often, if not always, ill-founded, stemming from neurotic tendencies. For brevity, a general analysis of the declassified information appears to demonstrate that communism was a tool used by Disney to justify his social neurosis and his ideas of social elitism. Whether it was conscious or not, Disney used the idea of communism to demonize the people he did not enjoy, to demonize them in a way that put him in the good graces of people like Hoover. Two birds with one stone. The entire portfolio of Disney-related FBI documents can be viewed here. Wow, I didn't realize that would be in here. That might be something coming back to look at. While the specific details of the dark history of the Disney family may still not be fleshed out, there is enough damning information here to show that Walt Disney was indeed heavily participating in the globalization elitist agenda. Even if he was not a pedophile with connections to high-level criminals, which he was a neurotic bigot with massive social inferiority that he subsequently sought to project into minds of countless children generations to come. Disney was deeply fascinated with esoteric mystery teachings and clearly understood that in relationship to archetypes in the collective consciousness. Another open end of the research includes further speculation into who Walt Disney's true parents may have been, since this was a notion that recurred to haunt him throughout his life until he finally found that he had been adopted. And some had even correlated this to a certain amount of blackmail that Disney may have received from the FBI concerning Walt's true origins. However, these seem to be speculation at the point in time. Additional final notes include that he was known to have a strong distaste for Jews, which Walt interestingly oh man. Interestingly said have been harbored because Jews have monopolized a stranglehold on the media. And because of this, he had a known affinity for the Nazi regime. Project Paperclip, which I was talking about the other day, being something that Walt truly reveled in. Werner von Braun went on to have a prominent role in both NASA and Disney's Tomorrowland public relations. I didn't know he was involved with Disney, too. Wow. And a great deal, he's the reason that we got to the moon first. Yes, him along with a team, we're talking hundreds and hundreds, if not close to about 1,000 Nazi scientists. And we're talking, no, they weren't just Germans who were kind of forced into it. And no, these were legit card-carrying member Nazis. All right, and in order to get to the moon first, we were willing to, basically give them immunity for all their crimes against humanity and the Jews, and not just the Jews, but people who were twins and Soviets and Slovaks, basically, and gays, and anyone that was kind of that they deemed inferior or worth researching. And a great deal of his world went into Tomorrowland TV documentary aired in the 1960s that explained the probability of being able to colonize Mars in the future. Well, he was right. I mean, he was definitely a very intelligent man. Nazi, but he was very intelligent. Still, all this clearly remains a bit of surface level investigation, and there are still a great many interesting avenues of research that have completely ripened for the picking in the alternative news community. Fruit that will hopefully be plucked and shared with the rest before too much longer. In any case, Disney obviously had a hot streak of elitist mentality where he felt it a philosophical, even metaphysical responsibility to give esoteric fodder to the imaginations of American children. From witches, magic potions, and Nazis to government espionage, propaganda, drugs, sexual perversions that may have teetered into pedophilia, Walt Disney was truly the Dark Prince of Hollywood. Whichever way one decides to slice this pie. Alright, and so here's all the sources. And let me just go back real quick. So he didn't mention Club 33, so I'll pull that up for you guys. If that's the exact name, it's something like that. Room 33, Club 33. 50 years after his death, the extent of Walt Disney's services to the FBI remains secret. Oh, they do remain secret. I thought you said they were unclassified. Here we go. Walt Disney Tomorrow section. He raised the question as to whether it would be possible to prepare a display or a demonstration of how science is employed by the FBI and law enforcement through its laboratory and identification divisions. Disney volunteered that the FBI is foremost in this field, and its foreign operations are of great interest to all Americans, and particularly just to young people. Let's see anything else. Disney tells his commie woes. Stated that the artist had been trapped by communist labor. And one Hollywood union leader once said he could use National Labor Relations Board was it served its purpose. Mr. Disney named Herbert K. Sorrell, head of the Conference of Studio Unions, the man who called a strike at the Disney studies and refused to agree to an election in the plant. At the insistence of his artist, Mr. Disney said he'd demand a plant election before the committee recessed its investigation. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense. Fractured, it kind of makes them. And on a mask, Mr. Ilsney lists communists were behind the labor movement and believed they should be smoked out so that true liberalism by real Americans can go without the taint of communism. Well, it's like you expose them as secret commies, and they should be replaced by. I just don't see there's anything like really interesting. Mr. in the background, he wasn't spells it. I believe I looked into his record and I found that number one that he, it sounds like this guy. I mean, being friends with Hoover, it makes sense that he knew how to play the game like that. Mr. Walt Disney is the vice president in charge of production and founder of Walt Disney Productions, to production of cartoons. Disney also mentioned that his company is currently Blake, Christina, and I did that with quotes. This program is designed for children audience, and it is Disney's desire to acquaint American children with various employment opportunities in numerous fields of American endeavor. I wonder why. Specific outline in mind, he presented this through SAC Malone. And this was from, what is any dates? Oh, it was stamped March 19th, 1956. Anyways. Some cross-revenue threaten film folk with your economy. Because, you know, you don't have religion and, you know, it doesn't make you economy. All information contained is classified. Plywood answers attack on freedom. There we go. At least someone had it right back then. You know, I mean, just look alone what Disney owns. Let alone the Disney Channel, which we'll get into in a second. Our grandmothers, and you know, but you know, she thinks that this stuff's all crap. But you know, she won't even listen when you try to show the proof. A lot of people are like that. I know that you guys go through that in your daily lives. You know, people who just, you know, they're just like, oh, you're out of your mind. It's like, well, you know, I only deal in facts. I don't just do theory. I just talk about things that I can prove. That's one of the reasons I do that. Is there's nothing worse than being called like a crazy person when you're just trying to help people. Open their eyes. So lists of assets owned by the Walt Disney Company. All right. So I mean, there's different there's so much. Okay. So Disney Worldwide Services, Disney Children's Center, D23. That's a fan club run by corporate marketing. Earthstar Inc., corporate airline. Synergy Group. You guys probably heard of that. Grand Central Creative Campus, secondary office location. And here we go with the Walt Disney Studios. Walt Disney Animation Studios, Pixar, Marvel Studios, Blue Sky Studios, Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. The studio has 6 of the top 10 highest grossing films of all time. That's crazy. I'm trying to show everything that they own, though. Buena Vista Home Entertainment, 20th Century Fox, and also Spyglass Entertainment, Morgan Creek Productions, DreamWorks Studios, Touchstone Pictures, Marvel Entertainment, UTV Motion Pictures, Marvel Studios, Netflix, Stars, if I didn't say DreamWorks before, Marvel Television, Marvel Animation, Amblin Partners, Pixar, Marvel Studios, I said those. Uh, 21st Century Fox. That was a recent purchase. 20th Century Fox, Blue Sky Studios. So we'll keep the headquarters in the studio lot. So it's from the Fox. So he doesn't own. From the Fox Corporation. So they don't own the Fox Corporation. I guess that would be fine. Fox Music, Golden Oak Ranch. What's going on here? Fox Searchlight, Disney Live, Disney Music, Disney Concerts, obviously. These are all like obvious. Pixar, Blue Sky. This isn't really what I was hoping it would be. Oh, here we go. Buena Vista Motion Pictures, Touchstone Pictures, Hollywood Pictures, Caravan Pictures, Spyglass Entertainment, Miramax Films, Film Yard Holdings, Dimension Films, The Weinstein Company. I mean, that's how they're so powerful. Skeleton Productions, Disney Circle 7 Animation, Image Movers Digital, Disney Toon Studios, Disney Television Animation, Walt Disney Television, Walt Disney Television Telecommunications, Touchstones Television, Walt Disney Television Telecommunications, ABC Studio, that was renamed ABC Studios, Walt Disney Motion Pictures Group, Touchstone, Kingdom Comics, The Muppet Studio, Disney Consumer Products and Interactive Media, ESPN Films, UTV Motion Pictures. They own so much, it's ridiculous. And that was just the corporate, so let's see. Now let's get out of the corporate. Let's get to, well, I guess we went through this. Did we read all these? Lucasfilm, Marvel Studios, Fox 2000 Pictures, 20th Century Fox Animation. Some of these I repeated. Lucasfilm Animation, LucasArts, Lucas Licensing, Lucas Online, Skywalker Sound. I mean, you know what? Those movies, from what I hear, haven't done well. I haven't watched any of the new ones. And the old ones, I was barely a fan. I'm not really into that stuff. 20th Century Fox and everything that comes with that. Let's see what else. Disney Music Group. Touchstone Pictures. Disney Theatrical Group. Disney Media Networks. Check this out. ABC Daytime, Valley Crest Productions, Greengrass Productions, 20th Century Fox, 20th Television, 20th Television Animation, Fox 21 Television Studios, ABC Studios, ABC Signature, the own television stations, Hulu, ABC Audio, ABC News Radio, Lincoln Square Productions, FX, FXX, FXM. These are all owned by Disney. Disney Channels Worldwide, Disney Channel, Disney Junior, Disney XD, Radio Disney Productions, National Geographic, National ESPN Inc. By the way, they have 80%, 20% owned by the Hearst, so a large majority. So that's ESPN, ESPN 2, 3, ESPN News, Deportes, ESPN Films, ESPN Classic, ESPNU, ESPN Events, ESPN Radio, ESPN Books, ESPN International, ESPN Outdoors, ESPN Digital Center, the ESPY Awards, ACC Network, Longhorn Network, SEC Network, X Games, DraftKings, A&E. Wow, I like A&E too. A&E Networks, A&E Studios, A&E Indie Films. I mean, the big one there is A&E. And then A&E actually owns, there it is sometimes. A&E, Crime Investigation, FYI. They also own Lifetime, Lifetime Movies, Lifetime Real Woman, those channels. But they own everything. Disney, because these are more like parks, experiences, and products. These are pretty obvious ones. Some might not be that obvious. Disney Consumer Products, Disney Baby, Fox Consumer Products, Fox Shop, the Disney Store in North America, Europe, Japan, Disney Shopping, Disney Direct Response Publishing, Integrated Retail. Here's their games: Disney Mobile, Disney Canada, Game, DCPI content, the Muppet Studios, Parks and Resorts, Disney Parks Merchandising, World of Disney, Disney Research, China. You can imagine what goes on there. Disney Destinations, Disney Sports Enterprises, ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex, Run Disney, Disney's Fairy Tale Weddings and Honeymoons. Overall, well. But a lot of these stations, like, in the sports industry, I know that ESPN, yeah, they're hurting. They were doing suction, especially the ones that are also on radio. Which I've interned for the #1 show of all of them. That's on radio, TV, all of it. Let's see, what else? Seven Seas Lagoons, Resorts, The Animal Kingdom, Beach Club Resort, Disney Boardwalk Inn, Contemporary Resort, Grand Floridian Resort, Disney Polynesian Village, Disney Wilderness Village, Disney Yacht Club, Disney Caribbean Beach Resort. I think that's the ports that they sail out of. So, Epstein also owned those ports. So, once you throw that into the mix, yeah. Not much to say after that. Disney Paris. But yeah, it's pretty clear. Hong Kong. It looks like some of their newest ventures are in China. But now with Trump in there, I think Trump has been very, he hasn't been so good to Disney, for Disney, I should say, or to Disney. So streaming services, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, Hulu, with NBC Universal as a silent partner. Movies Anywhere LLC, BAMTech Media, Disney Digital Network, Polaris, the platform, Marvel HQ, all these Fox, National Geographic. That's unbelievable. So yeah, it gives you an idea. These are all the things. How do they even keep up? Hoo-ha. Okay. I guess the way they keep up is by, that just brings a whole new, that just turns it something totally different. Oh, that's where they have, like, the Tonight Show, I believe. Financial, venture capital, GoPro. I'm just reading out the ones that I know off the top of my head. That I know what they are, but some of you guys might know what some of these are. Buena Vista. Anyways, alright, so the last thing I'm gonna, oh wait, what's all this? Sold, so this is what they sold that they did own. Miramax Films, Dimension Films, Power Rangers, Oxford E, Bass Anglers, Sportsman Society, Fox Sport Networks, sold to the Sinclair Group. Oh, you know what? I would keep an eye on the Sinclair Group. They are cleaning up in the radio industry and a bunch of different industries. Sinclair Group. I see. That makes a few things make sense in my own personal life. DreamWorks, ESPN the magazine. Oh, it just goes on and on and on, really. I mean, they are literally the number one. When we talk about like mainstream media, you're looking at it. They are the mainstream media of the mainstream media, you know? Unbelievable. Um, Disney. Oh, Disney. And this will be the last thing because I'm missing football, but it was so interesting. I just had to keep going. All right, so Club 33 is a private is a part of the New Orleans Square section of Disneyland. Also, the original is in Disneyland. I believe that's the California one, right? And new locations coming to Walt Disney World's 4 parks. And look at the symbol. Club 33. There's the door, the original. So this is the original one, which makes me think that there were some designs. They realized people are waking up. So there's some type of design they don't want people seeing. Kind of interesting right there. They know that we're on to all their symbolism. It's satanic. So look at that. The 8 points. The 8-pointed. I don't know. Something to that. 32 and then 33. Is one of them maybe have an extra spoke? There's something to that, I'll tell you that. Because this is the original design, so they've changed it. Since they realized people were waking up, they could probably see it coming. The Mardi Gras beads. Which, by the way, New Orleans is always been known for it's dealing with voodoo and black magic as well. No wonder it started there. So membership is not Club 33, neither open to the public. So just imagine what kind of crazy crap goes on there. Because everyone that's obviously part of this, just, I bet you a lot worse than alcohol going on there. They get early park admission. As long as they and theirs, up to 3 accompanying guests having an accompanying annual restaurant. In 2011, there was a 14-year waiting list for new membership. The membership waiting list was reopened in 2012. That was being closed for 5 years. So, I mean, we're talking decades of waiting for membership. Accommodation for the corporate elite. This gave him the idea that culminated in Club 33. And we all know what he was doing behind the doors, so they can try to pretty this up as much as they want. There's a lot more to this Club 33. And this is where it is, so you know. The other one was in the New Orleans section, but the one in this one is following a major remodeling in January 2014. The entrance relocated to the Court of Angels. Now, angels and also can be of the fallen variety, with the La Masquerade de Orleans holiday decoration shop, club kitchen. So here's the interior. I wish I could make out what those painting pictures are on the wall. For non-members, a receptionist will ask the reservation name of the intercom, and if asked, the second level has 2 rooms, and this is just what they're willing to show us, by the way. Not much going on there. I mean, alcohol for one. Now this is located somewhere else, I guess. Their main dining. All right, so I'm gonna bring an end to this deep dive into Disney, all the arrests, all the pedophiles that work at Disney, how to get back into the chat. Oh, here we go. I can see it right here. All right. Oh, it was buffering. Damn, man. All right. Well, you know what? At least any time where it was buffering, that you want to check it out, just go and you can. As soon as this uploads in about less than 10 minutes, this will you'll be able to watch any of the parts that were buffering. Kind of like yesterday. All those parts that were buffering yesterday all show up then as well. So let me go through this. That can't be the whole chat. So yeah, this isn't the actual chat. Alright, let me see. Live. Can I go live again? Oh, here we go. Nice. Alright. So let me see if I can get the chat up. That can't be the whole chat. So I'm not able to see the chat? Is that what's going on here? What's going on? How do I... Maybe editor? Chat box. The chat should be on this side. People left due to the buffering. Alright, so I guess this is going to be one of those things where... Yeah, there isn't much here. So, you know what? People are just going to have to watch it after, kind of like yesterday's show, the first hour of yesterday's show. But that's what happens when you talk truth, unfortunately. So, Red Pill New Dispensary, this should upload in a minute. And anything that you missed, you'll be able to watch at that point. Alright, guys. Take care. Have a nice, chill Sunday, alright? Alright, guys. Just watch the, once it uploads, just watch the, upload at that point. There'll be no buffering. Just like yesterday's show. Everything that was buffering that first hour and a half, it's all there now. You could see why it was buffering. And you can see why it was buffering today, too. Alright, take care, guys. Any questions, though, first? See you guys. Yeah, see, I read that before I even went live. This is it for chat? People left due to the buffering. So, wow. I don't know. So hopefully people, if you're seeing this, what was that last build? Oh, now chat's showing up. That was Club 33. That last build, what they were showing, that's Club 33. It's been there for a long time. Now they have like 4 different Club 33s, and that is a members only altogether. It's like if me or you wanted to go, be $27,000, and then $12,000 a year every year after that. Yeah, I know that's all Club 33, all elites. I mean, you got to be able to afford 27,000 and then 12,000 a year every year after that. So, just to be a member. Forget about the costs and everything else. And every time you go, you have to buy another ticket to get into the theme park. So, just to be a member. Yeah, exactly. It's all on the symbolism, Kelly. But like I said, just like yesterday's video, it was very interesting how it kind of went down at the beginning. I just kind of like went off on my own thing, and I was studying, I was going looking at certain things, but then I was like, hold on a second, you know what? This seems strange, and then they all donated to the same foundation, meaning CMEX, Rothschild, Bronfman, and IKEA Israel. They all donated to this thing called the I don't want to get this channel all messed up, but the Save the Children Foundation. So once I looked into that, turns out that's been around over 100 years, and it's been involved with a lot of BS. And since then, I've been actually looking into that. Before I did this show, I was looking into it some more. So much more I found. I mean, what I found yesterday was was just scratching the surface. That's why I highly recommend. Anytime it was buffering yesterday, that's the stuff you want to see, is when they buffer it. I wasn't swearing during the stream, so if it was buffering again, all I was doing was reading articles. I wasn't swearing. So I don't really get it. So I mean, this is why certain channels, do it the way they do. But usually I don't have the buffering problem that bad. But I have lately, because these last 2 days we've gotten in some real serious stuff. And when it comes to children, I'm gonna expose it, and I'm not gonna, think of my channel. I'm gonna expose it fully. So I hope you guys all watch the replay where there won't be any buffering, as well as the replay to yesterday's show. That should be telling as well. All right, guys. Again, Red Pill News Dispensary. Enjoy the unbuffering part of the show. Everything that was buffering won't be buffering in the playback, so enjoy. In about 10 minutes it takes to upload. All right, Red Pill News Dispensary.